Sai Ram, Sai Ram.
Extend.
Sai Ram, Sai Ram.
Oh, sorry. Might have. Okay. No, it should come. It's not. It says no signal. Oh, sorry, not here. It should come only. You remove it and put it down. I think. No, you need to pull that into seconds. Just move the thing to here. Move left. Hold it and. Actually, you should duplicate.
Yeah, I don't know why it's not giving me that option to duplicate.
Right, just on the main screen. Main screen, you should click on.
Display settings. No. Open that. Display settings. Yeah.
Instead of extend, you should just duplicate. There it is. Keep changes. Keep changes. Okay. Got it. Now you got it.
Before we start, I just want to see online also.
Yeah, sure. Want to share?
Yeah, I've already started sharing.
Okay. Good.
Sai Ram. I hope people can. Please give us a little thumbs up if you can hear us online.
Take for 20 seconds.
30 seconds. Yeah, 20 Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. That's good. Good sign. For me, yeah.
Okay. Okay, let's start today's session. Sai Ram with 3 ohms. Om. 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 A prayer to dear Swami. Swami, we are so grateful to be able to meet here together in your presence today. While we are here together studying your word in your Bhagavatha Vahini, we ask that you open our ears and hearts to whatever it is you want us to learn. Please speak through each one of us and help us progress in our spiritual journey. Jai Sai Ram. Sai Ram, everyone. Just a little etiquette wise, can everyone please just check that their cell phones are on mute? Let's stay on the topic and get on with our discussion. It would be great if we could actually leave our ego outside of this discussion. That will help us learn. Sairam. So I just wanted to ask Venkatji about the summary from the last two sessions, and then we can get started.
Yeah, Sairam. Sorry about the technical issues that we had in the last two sessions for people who tried to join through the online session. We apologize for that. Each session, there were some problems. So we apologize for that. But basically, the essence of what we had discussed in the last two sessions were Swami's discourse on renunciation. And we picked Swami, one or two of Swami's discourses, and we discussed that. And in that, what Swami says in the first discourse is to renounce the four antahkaranas. So that is the main thing. So basically, the karanas there are external senses, and within each one of us, there is the internal instruments that are called karnas, antahkaranas, that that is the one that controls. So renouncing that is the key. That was the first discourse. The second discourse, what Swami says is how we can, he says right action is the one. So the second one focused on the action. So when we perform the right action, that is equal, that will bring us the joy, because Swami talks about when we renounce, we get greater joy than when we try to acquire material possessions. I mean, joy, we think that we get through material or the external senses. Through external senses, we think that we can get the joy. But Swami says that if you renounce that, then renouncing the internal antahkaranas, then we get better joy or more joy. So that was the essence of what we had discussed.
Thank you, Sairam. So moving along, if there is any other open questions or anything anyone wants to add, this would be a great time. Otherwise, we can move on. Okay, so today we'll continue with our discussion on renunciation. We are obviously on chapter 6 still, and we are talking about Vidura's renunciation, and that's what the chapter is about. But we will be continuing with Swami's talk on renunciation and what he is referring to. So after your discussion yesterday, in the last 2 weeks, I think it's best today if we can start with a little meditation. And then we will take on the next piece of our discourse with Swami. So with that, I would like to start the meditation. So give me just one.
Meditative exercise. Sit straight wherever you are. Take a breath, breathe in and breathe out, relax. Relax. Don't be rigid. Breathing in and breathing out. Listening to my voice. If you feel comfortable, you can close your eyes. Notice your breath. First, at the level of the stomach, maybe as it breathe in, the stomach expands. Breathe out, the stomach contracts. Gently make your attention more subtle, the breath at the nose. Try to feel the air slowly entering the nose, leaving the nose, breathing in at the nose, sensation of breathing out at the nose. Now direct your attention inwards to the mind, where there are thoughts. You are hearing my voice. Or maybe there are no thoughts, there are just gaps of thoughts. Notice that each thought, each feeling, every sound you hear Every breath you take in or release is experienced. And feel, I am the experiencer of these thoughts. Good thought, bad thought, they shine in me, arise in me, shine in me, disappear in me. Sensations in the body, in the breath, whatever sensation there is, notice. They arise in me, the awareness. They shine in me, the awareness. They disappear in me, the awareness. I am not the sensations. I am not the thoughts. I am their witness. I am ever the witness of the mind. If there are thoughts in the mind, I am the one who experiences these thoughts. If there are no thoughts in the mind, I am the one who experiences the absence of thoughts. I am aware of the sensations. They are not aware of me. I am aware of the thoughts and feelings and emotions and ideas. They are not aware of me. I am awareness. I am consciousness. Every thought reveals to me, I am consciousness. Every sensation reveals to me, I am consciousness. If the mind gets distracted, notice the distraction was noticed by me, the consciousness. Even the distraction reveals to me, I am consciousness. Sitting, relaxed, breathing normally. Whatever comes to attention, do not bother about it. Just notice that you are noticing it. It is coming to your attention. You are consciousness. All the thoughts and feelings, whatever it is, notice, one, they are different from me. Two, they keep changing. I do not. Three, they are many. I am one. Let thoughts come and go. Let sounds come and go. Nothing can disturb you, for whatever is disturbing, it is just pointing out you are the witness of that disturbance. You need not resist anything. Any sensation, no matter how unpleasant or pleasant, just use it to become aware that I am the witness of that sensation. Any thought, no matter how nice or how bad, just become aware that I am witnessing that thought. Ever the witness, never the witnessed. Ever the subject, never the object. Ever at rest, never restless. Ever luminous, never the illuminated. I rest in my glory as the one light of consciousness. Breathing in, breathing out. Relaxed. When you feel comfortable, gently open your eyes. Gently open your eyes. Be aware the room of the device in front of you. The virtual presence of so many people. A couple of interesting things to note, One is, in this kind of meditation, this is a Vedantic Nididhyasana. I just took it from a text called Drigdrishya Vivek, which speaks of 6 different kinds of Vedantic Nididhyasana. This is the first one, a Vedantic meditation. Notice, in this kind of meditation, there's no chance of distraction. Whatever is disturbing, you can use it. And I am the witness of this disturbance. You will bless the disturbances. A sharp pain, for example, which would be like totally disastrous for any other kind of meditation, is just sharply and blazingly pointing out you, the consciousness. Does anybody understand what I'm trying to say? Any kind of sensation, sound, disturbance, a disturbing sound, or a classic enemy of a meditator, a buzzing mosquito. And that is continuously pointing to the awareness which I am. Every moment, every unpleasant sensation, I am the witness awareness. So there's no possibility of distraction in this kind of meditation. Every distraction is a help. Yatra yatra mano yati tatra tatra samadhaya. So they say, wherever the mind goes means whatever the mind thinks of, whatever comes into the mind, good or bad, pleasant, unpleasant, indifferent, there you will find samadhi. Because you're using it. You know how you use it? You use it as a mirror. In a mirror, when you hold a mirror to your face, there is a mirror and your face gets reflected there, and the reflection of the face immediately points to you, reminds you, here is your real face, which you cannot see. There's no objection, there's no object there which you can see. The real face never becomes an object. What you see is in the mirror is a reflection of your face, and the reflection points back to your real face. Similarly, every thought, every sensation that comes to you is a mirror. What do you notice there? Consciousness. Because thought, sensation, all are consciousness. There is consciousness there. And that consciousness should point back to you as the source of that consciousness. I am the original awareness. I am the witness consciousness. Every experience in the world points to your real nature. It's an open secret. It's right there. It's just shining all the time. You can find peace. You can elevate out yourself above the turmoil of the world in an instant. Try it. It should work.
Okay, Saira. So thank you for participating in this. I would like to go around the room and ask one thing that you have learned differently with this meditation versus other things that you have worked on. What is the one takeaway that you have? Everyone can say something. Can we just have the mics go around? Thank you. Saira. We can start with Venkatji.
Okay, I can start.
Yeah.
See, the one thing that is different in this is usually the meditations that I have attended or gone through, you focus on the thoughts, right? So and then the focus is once you focus on the thought, you will reach a stage of thoughtlessness, okay, where you don't get any thoughts. Your mind will be empty. So here, what he says is, don't even have to bother that. Okay, when the thoughts come, just because that points right there that you are the thinker, you are the one who is experiencing the thoughts. So I thought that was really good. It's a good.
Thank you.
Easier to meditate.
Right.
This one.
Right. Om, anything to add? What did you think? What was the one thing that you remember from that?
You have different thoughts and their consciousness.
Yeah. Yeah, that's perfect. Can you give it to Daddy, please? Let's see what.
We actually I have listened to this before
Yeah.
and experienced it before. So it is it is repeatedly training yourself to be in that mode of being an observer.
Mm. Correct.
Repeatedly training yourself and reminding yourself not only the physical body, also the thoughts and the feelings. Everything is not you. Everything is not you.
Right.
You are the observer of these things.
Right. Thank you. Jay Bhai?
This is common to me because I don't know whatever the name he gave. It's a different name that is calling from the scriptures. But it's a very common thing that happens when we go to meditation because the thoughts will start going different directions. When you try to pull them back, it won't come easily. So in my practice, I don't do it regularly though, but whenever I do it, it happens. The mind goes away, wandering different places, but you just leave it for a few moments, it comes back again. So there is a gap, a pause, and then I realize, oh, okay, I'm in meditation. Then again, the thoughts will go to some direction. So I'm watching that thoughts are going. So I know that I'm watching it and not try to restrict them forcefully. That's what I think the same concept.
Correct. Saira, thank you. Jay Bhai, Vijay?
No, I think I like only the comparison I made with the reflection of face against the wall, against the mirror. Similarly, reflection of the consciousness. So that is very interesting. Actually.
Yeah. Thank you. Rishi?
I just let my thoughts pass, and I'd think of something and then I'd let it pass, and then I found myself thinking about what I'm going to think about next. And then once I thought that, I stopped thinking because I couldn't think of what I'd think next. So
Nice.
it might have helped.
Yeah.
So yeah, like similar to what Rishi said, it's separating you out your what you're thought from what you actually are doing. So it's essentially putting yourself in a different position and observing it essentially.
Yourself, yes.
Yes.
Yes, that's nice. Yes, thank you, Bhargav. It's okay. Keep your mic, we'll start from here. Asha ji has it.
I feel I'm not able to meditate, and it's a guilt inside. Oh, if I start meditating, the mind goes away. But this way, the mind did go away, but this, it's okay. I'm aware of my mind gone somewhere, whatever that is. So that fraction of what you call guilt in the mind, so that I could let go that, okay, it's all right. I know my mind went away, but I'm a witness to it, that state. And I like that.
I like the fact that he said about the mirror, the reflection.
Yeah.
And that you are ever the witness. You can never see yourself.
Yes.
You can only be yourself.
Right. Lata ji, please say something. आप हिंदी में बोलिए, it's fine. नहीं बोलिए, कुछ तो बोलिए. You have learned something.
मुझसे कभी भी मेडिटेशन नहीं होता.
It's okay.
मैं जब भी करने लगती हूँ तो
सबका वही हाल है.
बहुत सारे विचार आते रहते हैं.
सबका वही हाल है. कोई ऐसा नहीं है.
I like that the thoughts and consciousness, before I go to sleep, whenever the thoughts comes, I also concentrate what the thoughts are coming.
Yeah.
And just I focus on that and slowly it
Goes away.
I go to the sleep.
Yeah.
Beginning, he mentioned about not being rigid.
Yeah.
So the thoughts, let them go and pay attention.
Right.
So my thoughts are very similar to Asha and Venkat's. So I have never been able to meditate, and today I was able to focus in that part. I was able to go to that thoughtless stage. He took it very easily. So when you start witnessing, so when you say, I am the witness, when you are the witness, so you're looking at it, then it becomes all like a game. And then, you know, the thought stops. So that was really, really good. I think I will follow that.
Absolutely.
This one of meditation.
That
It
is
was
fantastic.
amazing. That was
Yes.
amazing.
Yes, I agree. And I know a lot of us, we try to meditate on and off, and some days are better than others. But I think in this way, like Asha ji said, there is no guilt in trying to do that. My first takeaway for this is to separate yourself from the thought. So what are you separating from the thought? What are you separating yourself from? For what? What are you witnessing, right? Yeah, so we are not the thought, right? We have to get to that, right? So until
that is the whole game. Okay.
Correct, exactly.
So that is the whole game. The thoughts is a product of mind.
Correct.
So I am not mind. I am not man. Man, buddhi, chit, ahankar. This is the sukshma. This is a part of the sukshma body, the sukshma sharir. And I am not that sukshma sharir also. So that is the whole game. I am not the mind. So who is thinking this part? This is being thought by mind itself. The mind itself is thinking. So it's like taking the throne and picking up another throne and throw away their throne. Also, it's the same philosophy. With mind only, the vichar will come and you are observing that I am not this thought process.
Right.
So it's a repeated training of your with the mind only. So with the mind only, we will find out that this is not me.
But who knows that condition of that mind?
That's who you are,
By
actually.
repeated, yes, it is by repeated training of the mind only. The final decision that I am part of that same Brahm, that decision will also come in mind only. Mind will, Antakaran will finally decide that this is not me. The whole thought process, the vichar has to come through mind only. That's why that example repeatedly comes. You take a throne, the throne is being used. That is being used to take out the other throne. Which is the other throne? The delusion that this is me. That is to be taken out. This mind, buddhi, man, buddhi, chit, ahankar, man se hi vichar aayega, man has to decide, mind has to decide that this is not me. So it sounds a little complicated. I may have to use different phrase for that. But all this decision mind has to make that this whole thing is not me. This is, I am the part of that Parbrahm only.
Sit the thought, mind, and this is like three hats we are wearing. It's not three different things, mind, intellect, and intelligence. It's not different. It's almost like we wear three caps. I am a cleaner, house cleaner. I am the cook now. I am the eater now, and so on. So the same way, the mind is doing all of that as far as we are concerned, but it is doing, basically it's one and the same thing, at times doing the job of a mind or a higher self. So when we thought, when he was listening to him and thoughts came, but the mind said, okay, I'm aware of that too. Yes, the mind took that, put on the hat of seeing that I'm aware of those thoughts. So it was the higher self at that moment when I could realize that I'm a witness to that. So that's the way it's.
Yeah. So it comes like flashes, right? Sorry. Yes, Jaibai.
So I'm trying to rephrase what Manoj, I'm trying to understand my interpretation what
I see
Manoj
the
said, right?
excitement in Manojji's face, and I was totally kind of distracted. No, no, please.
So he mentioned as cutting a diamond with another diamond or removing the thorn with other thorn. So example, so the thoughts which actually surfaces in the beginning are synonym to the reflection in the mirror. So the other thought that is watching the thoughts is the original, the self.
Yes.
So that's how we can synonymously assume that the thought which is watching another thought is seeing yourself in the mirror.
Yeah, see the word that he uses and the word we have used about that observer,
Mhm.
which is observing the
Yes.
thought, is the consciousness.
Mhm.
I mean, whether consciousness is also, I mean, from what I understand from Manojji's explanation, is that that consciousness is also from the mind. So the mind is the one which is, because that awareness that we are witnessing these thoughts, and the thoughts are not us, the mind is not us, that awareness is also coming through the mind. That's how, that's I understand, that's Manojji's, that's what he, and the word that is used for that part of, whether we call that mind, whether that one is consciousness, that's how I understand now the
So he uses witness as
Correct.
that same thing. Yes,
Yeah.
I agree with you. But yes, yeah.
Let me explain it again.
Your mic is not on.
So, okay. So the phenomena is there are two birds sitting on the same tree. One is the karta, bhokta, and the doer, and other one is the observer. Till the time this bird, who is the karta and bhokta, who is the doer, and feeling, expression, is doing everything. So the mind is a part of this bird. Mind is a part of this bird. Sooner or later, with more experience, and this, the other bird, is the observer. We have to reach to that level when this bird will say that I am not a separate bird. I am the reflection of this same bird. That will be the union. We have to go to that level when this bird will say, I am not a different one. Jivatma is not different from that Parbrahm, which is the observer.
Right.
So by repeated thought process, we have to reach to that level that observer is the actual me. I'm not a separate one. So
Right.
I'm just a reflection of the same one.
Correct.
So that's where we have to go.
Yeah, yeah. So now, so he talked about Drigdrishya Viveka, basically, and I just wanted to give a little summary. So basically, he's saying you don't see yourself. So who is the seer in this case, right?
Yeah, what you said is right. In the initial stages, you have to have the duality that the subject is not the object. You have to be the subject, the sakshi, and watch the object. Later on, like you said, it's just one. And
So that's why I just wanted to bring that perspective into this. And that was the reason for that meditation, because we need to have that understanding of who is the seer and who is being seen. What is seen? Who is the seer? So with the example that I have, yeah. Asha, do you want to add about the Drishya?
See, what happened was, like when we were meditating, I said that different thoughts came. But I said to myself, or mind said, whatever is saying, okay, I am not that. I'm a sakshi to that, or I'm witness to that. That I, which we cannot see, which we cannot put our finger on, 'cause this is the I that's talking. We cannot do that anyway. But mentally, again, we know it is that higher self, me, that is a sakshi or a witness to all these thoughts, those are coming and going. In other words, mentally, I am aware that I am a sakshi or a witness to all that. But do I see that I? No, you don't see the I. But mentally, you know, it is me, the higher self, that is a sakshi or a witness to all the thoughts, those are coming by. So basically, mentally, again, I'm telling myself, I am the I that is sakshi, but I don't know what that is. Nobody knows it anyway.
Right. So there is that thing. Yeah, please go ahead.
So the interesting fact is the moment you see that thought, you identify there is a thought, it disappears.
That's the good. Yeah.
So the moment you think that you're thinking something, that thought disappears immediately. And then there is a pause. Again, after a few moments, then the thought will, again you watch, it disappears. So I think that's where the trick part.
So basically, what he is telling is the technique of meditation. It's a different technique of meditation. By doing this, what we have learned is we are getting rid of those thoughts. So that is the ultimate thing we are achieving by doing that. So by the moment you try to be the observer, that thought will go away, will wash away slowly. So it's a technique of meditation, what he is explaining. This is the technique. This is not the ultimate gyan unless we go through understanding of it.
Correct.
So this is just a technique.
That's correct. The purpose of this technique, like, okay, so Umaji has written in the chat. So she's saying, notice who is aware of all thoughts and emotions, and you are that. Then she said, we don't need to suppress any thoughts or emotions, just to be the witness to them. And then she has also said that the mirror is the I sense, ego. The reflected consciousness is the face in the mirror. The reflected face and the mirror are one. Your face is the original witness conscious. So basically that, so she said the mirror is the I sense, that is the ego. Yeah, the reflected consciousness is the face in the mirror.
Yeah.
The reflected face and the mirror are one. That's what you had said. Yeah. Your face is the original witness consciousness, basically, because that's where the reflection actually stems from. And then Rakhi has actually said, creating an awareness within you is the entire process in itself. So yeah, I totally understand. And thank you so much for listening, and please let those chats come in. So, so the idea of this meditation is to separate ourselves. So Drigdrishya Viveka basically says, you know, who is witnessing? What are we seeing? So the seer, who is the seer, right? So we use our eyes to see, but are we seeing the eyes that are seeing? So the eyes see many colors, but we don't see our own eyes that are seeing. So what is being seen is many, because the eye sees many different things. And so that is the differentiation when it comes to the mind as well. Then who is seeing the mind with all the thoughts that are coming in? Can we see our mind? No, but we know that the thoughts are coming in. We are aware of that piece, but we don't know what it is. So my final thing is, can the self be known through this? We don't see it though. We'll know it only, right? There is nothing to see in the self.
See, the thorn, we were talking about thorn. So the mind is like a thorn. I used it to tell myself I am a witness to all the thoughts those are coming in here. I use the same mind as the thorn to realize that all the thoughts are coming in my mind. I am the witness, the higher self, I is the witness. But and then you throw the mind away. Thorn is gone, it's thrown away, and it'll come back again and again. So, in other words, we are using the mind as a thorn to realize it and then throw it away and get to the point that I feel I'm the witness to it. What that I is, we don't know. There's nothing we can know about that I.
when you throw it away, when you said throw it away, that means at that state there is no mind. Because the mind that was the initial thorn that you were trying to get rid, you used again the mind, which is the real thorn that you used to remove the thorn. And then once that thorn is removed, you have thrown both away. That means you have reached the state of thoughtlessness.
But that is the thing. Maybe it is such a split moment or that fraction that we don't realize that
I know.
at this point there was no mind. At least I did not realize. Okay, but you can reach to the point where
Reach
you
that
will
state.
realize there's no mind. I haven't reached to the.
So
this-
when there is no thoughts, that means you are just that, you are that
Yeah,
big
that
I.
you
big
are that I.
are
Huh, you are that
So
I.
that is the state that we want to achieve.
Right. Okay, exactly. But at least mentally, you know, that's what I'm talking about, at least I would say.
Correct. Yeah.
If you are talking about being the observer, that observation is still maintaining that I.
Yes.
So that is still duality, okay? Because you are still maintaining that I, the thoughts are not me, mind is not me. So that process, with that process, you are still maintaining that I ego. What Venkatji is saying is the ultimate goal. After that, we have to think this I, which is taking all these measurements, all these calculations, that itself is the reflection of that other bird. Is that
Yes.
it's not
They are
so
the same.
that is, yeah. So that and me are same. That calculation will still be done by mind only. So that, and after that, this mind thorn is thrown away and the other one is thrown away. That becomes the unity.
So Umaji has just written that as long as the mirror exists, the face will be there. So that piece will never go away as long as this Jagat.
We do not want to go it away. It is the awareness. We don't want to go it away also. It is to be repeatedly aware of it.
Right.
We don't, the Jagat will stay here, I will stay here
Correct.
also. जब तक शरीर है,
All of this
अंतःकरण
will
है, all this will stay here, will maintain, will give the reflections. It's the matter of understanding it that this is not me.
See, that is why we have seen that equation, right? 1 + 1 = 3, right? That means you have the mirror. So you are real, you have a mirror, and you have your reflection. So
Yeah.
the moment you have the mirror, so you becomes 3.
Yeah.
Because the mirror is there. So if you remove that mirror, then 3 minus 1 equals 0.
Yeah.
You can reach that state. That means
Equals 1.
equals 1.
Yeah, it's not 0.
But,
Yeah.
but if you remove that also, like if you throw both the thorns away, it becomes 1.
Yeah,
There is
the same
only
one.
one
There
existing.
is only one.
That is only one existing.
Yeah. So the bottom line for this is to move on to the next piece of what Swami is talking about, because the next piece of renunciation, his thing is the role of consciousness in renunciation. So I just thought that maybe first we should just revise what we know or where we are before we go ahead and read this discourse on renunciation. So Om, do you want to just go ahead and read, please? Yeah, you might not be able to see the screen from there. So you can come towards the center. You can get up and come to the center if you, yeah. And then go back.
Role of consciousness. How is this renunciation to be effected? The world is made up of objects. It is inert, inert. In the in the waking sense, the senses cognize all these objects, but the senses are also inert. The eyes that see, the ears that hear, the tongue that speaks, and the nose that smells, all of them are jada, inert. In fact, the entire body is inert. But all these inert objects are able to function because of the presence of consciousness in the mind, the intellect, the chitta, and the ahamkara. Thus, we have to realize that the entire phenomenon universe is inert, jada. It is gross. This gross universe has to be treated as inert matter. The four subtle elements of consciousness, the mind, the intellect, the will, the ego, are Maya. What is Maya? Not exist. That which does not exist but appears to exist is Maya. Maya takes the unreal appear as real and the real as unreal. The other name for Maya is Ajnana, Agyan, ignorance. Agyan is that which hides the real from you and makes you regard the non-existing as existing. It makes the false appear as true.
Thank you. So this is a lot of information on consciousness from Swami. So I just thought we will break it down. We will not talk about Maya today, but we will talk about what is consciousness and then relate it to why it is important to recognize that for renunciation purposes. So with that in mind, I think the best way I felt was to first talk about what is Jada and what is Chaitanya, right? I know he has explained it, but I think it's each one of us, these are just words, I understand, but just want to make sure that everyone knows when he says inert, what it means. What is Jada and what is Chaitanya?
Yeah, Chaitanya is consciousness. Jada.
Yeah. Jada is inert, and Chaitanya is consciousness. Because of consciousness, this Jada works. This body is Jada actually, but if because of the awareness, it's working. If that awareness was not there, this will be as good as, said it.
See, the way I understand is the Manoji mentioned the two birds.
Yeah.
The first bird is the Jada.
Yeah.
The second bird is Chaitanya. Chaitanya is the one that observes the Jada.
Right.
So this is the consciousness that is the Jada.
So then how do you know the difference then? What are we supposed to learn? I understand that we have to be aware. Why? Why be aware? Why would it matter?
The main thing is Chaitanya is not at all like the Jada. It has no emotions. It's just like a light. It lights up the objects and it is the subject. So the Maya, which is, you don't want to go to Maya? No, that's okay. Oh, okay. So exactly what he says, the Maya does opposite. It makes the unreal appear as real. Unreal is the world and emotions and all our memories and everything we talked about, the Antakarna, that's all unreal. And the real, which is the real us, the consciousness, the Maya completely hides it. It's called Avarna Shakti. It's like a veil. So we cannot, unless we stay in the consciousness or a guru helps us, the Maya is too strong.
See, in Vedanta, as they explain, Brahman, the power, Maya is the power of Brahman. And Maya has two jobs to do, as Vedanta tells. It will project everything on Brahman itself, and it veils our mind from knowing that the reality underneath everything is Brahman, and we think we don't know that. So that is the Maya second job of veiling that information from our mind. That is what my first is projected everything on Brahman itself. So it is Maya is power of Brahman itself, doing it for Brahman. It doesn't come from outside anything. So the whole game is in the hands of Brahman itself, I feel.
Yeah, just to answer your question as to
Yeah.
why go through this exercise.
Yes.
The thing is, if we are to continue to remain as Jada,
Right.
that is the thing, right? We are
Yeah.
all, if we don't bother, we are just going to be a Jada, in which case we will just be a slave to our mind, our thoughts. And we are going to eternally going through ups and downs in our lives.
Yes.
So the downs will always be there. So that is the way. You don't have to do anything. Just go with the world. Go through all the, you're going to be emotional. You're not going to have that peace.
Mhm.
If you want to have the peace, then you have to go through this exercise.
That is very important.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, Umaji has said, Jada is Prakriti, don't forget, and that assumes the form. So, yeah.
When we realize that this I, this self, whatever, it's nothing actually. What is it? We can't touch it. We just don't know what is that I we are talking about. So that I is not affected by anything anyway. So if you want to be really at peace, if we can, then we will not be affected by anything. You come and give me 50 gali, what we call gali in Hindi, abusing words. And if I feel I'm not this body and the mind, I'm the consciousness, then it won't make any difference. But we are not at that point. And we'll retort right back at it. Why did you do that way? And so the thing is, that is the ultimate when if we can, when we can really, really realize I am not this body and the mind, then nothing will affect this. We'll go beyond the body and the mind. We will reside in the consciousness itself for us, right?
Yeah, the whole purpose is to get the peace.
Right.
That is the peace. That is the whole purpose.
Right. And so with that, right, if we look at this, what pushes us to understand that consciousness? So we are pushing ourselves to get to that understanding. Why are we doing that? What is pushing us to feel that, to know that today that we are sitting here, we are trying to understand the consciousness.
Yes, certainly I can answer, because you don't get, as Venkat said, you go through the ups and downs with the emotions, right? And you see that that is not giving you any happiness in a long run. It is not giving you happiness at all, right? All these things. Some days you are happy, but really, truly, you're not. It is just a momentary thing. And then there are days when you're down. And you understand that when that kind of becomes sour in your, for you, you don't like that state. That's when you start.
So we can also call it spiritual growth then. If we were not into any of this, what we are doing, nothing. So we will not know all this thing we are talking, right? So we are on a spiritual journey, or the soul is on a spiritual journey, and that's how we are coming in contact with all this thing which we are learning, right?
See, the other thing I see based on what Swami has said is that every soul that's born has that quest, because it's just like the water.
That's correct.
Water that is falling anywhere on the mountain, ultimate goal is to reach the ocean. So the water, wherever it may fall, however many lifetimes it may fall, it may ultimately end up in a lake. But then eventually it has to evaporate, again fall as a rain, and then eventually it has to reach the ocean. So that is the purpose. So the purpose of birth itself is only to realize that we are divine, or we are. So that is the. So if you ask a question as to why, I think that is why we are born. I think that is what.
So, what is Purusharth? It starts from there. Whatever we people are doing, We are doing it for dharma, artha, kam, moksha. There are 4 purusharths.
Correct.
All the acts, whatever we do, all the first 3 will keep us coming back to the birth and life cycle. These are the 4 kind of activities anyone, all the creatures in this universe do. And what they want to still get is sarva dukkhon ki nivritti. All dukh has to be vanished.
Correct.
And the only way to vanish is through the moksha. And moksha kaise milega? How do we get moksha? Is through these exercises only to reach that level. So that's why we're doing this exercise. That's why we're doing this exercise to understand the ultimate truth and to get rid of all the sufferings. The moment we realize, as Asha auntie was saying, that this is not going to affect me, we slowly start to get away from those. I mean, we will still feel it, but we'll get rid of it faster.
Right.
It's not that we'll not feel it. We'll still feel it, but we'll start to train ourselves to get rid of it faster. That's how we'll not be affected much.
So
I think if we go through this, if we are aware and if we go through this exercise, see the other advantage or other plus of this Swami Sarvapriyananda's that meditation is that you don't need to sit at all. Wherever you are, you can be watching, and you will be in meditation, in this meditation, because you can see the witness. So, but the whole exercise of distinguishing between the mind and the witness or the observer, that exercise, the continuous process of doing it will eventually lead to a state where you don't get the thoughts at all. I think you will reach that.
Before that, right, he said that all of us want to go because we are running behind all the material things that, so all the purusharthas that he talked about. And so my point being, who is being miserable there? So if we know that we are not the ones being miserable, but even then we are miserable.
Yeah, the mind is the one that.
But the mind knows, right? At some point, the mind knows that there is something beyond.
If the mind knows, and then it's not going to suffer. So I think the suffering or the emotions is at a stage where at that time when you're suffering, you don't realize that witness that is behind. So the moment you are realizing that it is the witness that is there and you're an observer, the moment you do that, you're not going to suffer. So it is just that lack of awareness at that time that makes you suffer.
It is not. So momentarily, for 2 seconds, we get the realization. And we are getting it repeatedly the whole day. Whatever anand we are getting is the reflection of myself. So that is the whole theory. Whatever pleasure we feel from anything is nothing from that. It's my own pleasure. So that's the first thing. And to stay in that state, like she said, we realize it. He said we realize it. But how long do we keep realizing it? That's the thing. Persistence of staying in that mode is the ultimate goal.
So, okay. So that is what Gyanis do. Basically, that is what we are trying to reach there at some point. But we are still going through the suffering in our daily lives. How, when you are really at the bottom, to get to that awareness is my question always. Because I can talk all of this, but the minute something happens, all this is washed away in my head. Right?
We have thought of this so many times.
Yeah.
So do your duty. Do the ultimate best. Do your best. But if the result still doesn't come, then you leave it up to him. That's the only way. We were struggling so hard. That is the stage of Gyanis only. You're right. But how do we go to that level? Repeatedly doing the duty to the ultimate, but staying detached from the result. Do the duty, stay detached from the result. So that's the only way I could find.
I could not.
See, I'm finding just the other day, I wasn't feeling that high up. I was kind of low for no reason. So, okay, let me sit down. Let me look at my own mind. What the heck it's doing? Why am I feeling like that? I did few minutes of thinking, okay, what was it? Okay, what is the cause of this thing? Did I reach anywhere? No, I did not reach any cause or anything. But the sad feeling was gone. Down feeling was gone. I said, let me go and get something to eat. Let's see what's in the fridge. What happened? The mind went another direction. Right? I went and got something from the fridge, and that thought, old thought was gone, whatever it was. So I feel if there is anything, any kind of wrong thinking which you don't want it, sit down for 2 minutes and very consciously look at it. Okay, I'm feeling this way. Why the heck am I feeling? What is the reason? Sort it out in your mind. Think about it, and it works. It works. After a while, you'll forget again and go and have fun again. Say, I don't like this thing.
So that doesn't always work. I don't know. It makes me feel even worse. But sometimes. So Umaji is saying only the mind is miserable. So you have to keep on reminding yourself about that. But again, when you are saying that, think of it in your mind and but what kind of thought are you thinking is very important. It's one thing to think that I am not the one being miserable. This is a passing cloud or passing phase. It's one thing to think, why am I suffering? And then we go through entire depths of things that have happened. People have done things. This has happened, that has happened. If we dig our history, it doesn't help us to make us better. That's my thing. We have to think in the right direction, even when you are trying to.
You didn't mention that neti. That's another way to do it. Like, remember what is real, what is unreal. What we think is real is totally unreal, but we have been conditioned through so many janmas and especially this life that we think that is so real. We can't believe that it's not real. And the unreal is completely covered. Sorry, the real is completely covered.
Yeah, there's the Maya working on all of us all the time. That's our problem.
Yeah, I think this exercise, or the whole meditation, the whole exercise that we are going through, is only to get us when we are at the down. That is when we need it, right? We need that when we are up. There is no, we will be in joyful state. When we are down, that is when we need it, and at that time, this kind of that awareness helps us into either, as you said, either think in a completely different, but it all depends on that time, on that situation. Right? You cannot at work stage, you're working at the desk, you're trying to do something, and you want to finish something on time, and it doesn't work. Okay, you're stuck for some reason. Then your boss is going to be depending on it. You feel miserable at that time. At that time, you can, when you are at home and with the son, you can think of something else. You have that luxury of spending about 15 minutes. That may not happen. So I think what we may have to do at that time is just this is what I would think.
The exercise.
Separate yourself and be the observer, and then think, see that whole situation. I think if we do that, it will help us in removing that suffering that we go through.
At least the momentary peace.
Yeah.
Momentarily.
I think it will definitely help, and it will come. The solution will come in a different way. So, but I think that's what is.
Please go ahead, Jay. Yeah.
So the other way which I'm learning to do is to avoid being in situations. Yeah, if you don't have power strong enough to fight the situation, avoid these situations which will disturb that peace. Avoid going that was not the right example, but I did mention going to the India Fest. Yeah. So if you are at that level that these things don't bother you, that's fine. If you think, you be your own judge. If you think this will disturb you, all those fashion things, all those foods, all those functions, so avoid doing all these things which will disturb your inner peace, number one. Till you attain to that level that when these things don't bother you, affect that all. So that's one part I just wanted to mention.
Yeah. And yeah, please go ahead.
So we have two things here. So one is we are tightly coupled with mind and senses, very tightly. So if you are in the physical world on a daily routines, you keep reacting to those situations, whether it's good or bad. So obviously the mind reacts, so you get pleasure or you get discomfort and unhappiness. The other is if you want to get out of this, you need to isolate yourself from the worldly things. So you go and sit alone somewhere, and after some time you will be in Brahmananda doing that meditation. Nobody bothers, nothing bothers you. You are there.
That is
But that's
not
not
always
possible for us, right? So to get out of this, okay, I have to be in the worldly things, but still I need to be at a equilibrium state or equanimity state. Then what is the other method? Is that you need to think yourself, I'm playing a role. It's all drama. So those are the only two ways that you can escape all this from up and downs.
See, same thing. If you want a job, right? So you have to go get a degree. A doctor goes and gets his 5 years and he becomes a doctor. Without that, he couldn't have. So in order to be able to handle something, we have to train ourselves. This could be a teacher or any doctor, it doesn't matter what profession, but the person has went through that much time, did learn it, and then he can handle the problem. Same way, if I'm facing some problem, then I have to train myself how to handle it, whether to just let go, throw everything away, let go. If that suits, fine. If you want to handle with the person, hey, communicate, let it solve, clear the air. If that helps, you do it that way. So what are we going back to? Training our own self, whatever we need it, whatever the situation calls for.
Yeah.
Right.
I like the example, Ashaji, you suggested about, you shared about your dad telling you when you were young that think of the worst case scenario. If you're going through some trouble, think of what could be the worst possible outcome. Okay. Then, okay, I can handle that. So be prepared for the worst, then this one will go away. I think that's probably an example.
Yeah, so those are all approaches to this thing, right? But eventually for us to come back to happiness. So the difference that I see in myself from my 30-year-old self to 40 to 50 is the time that it took for me to come back to normal has decreased. Because now what Swami calls ajnana, that ignorance is kind of, it's not reduced, but at least I know how to handle it. Because this has taught me a lesson or two to get to that. But that has not taken away my insecurities, my fear, or anything like that. All I'm saying is it has brought that time of, yeah.
So they gave the example coming from a stone to water. Earlier, the example you were giving, our that mind, ego, whatever you want to call it, was like a stone. Whatever line they put, the impact was strong. It will stay forever. Then becomes the sand. The things will come as influence, it will stay there for some time. We need to reach to that level of water. The ripple will come and ripple will go away. Waves will come and will go away. From the journey of stone, when the ripple will come, it will stay there. The line will stay there forever. To the sand, where it is little bit, stays after some time, it will vanish. With the water, it will go away immediately. So we have to reach that level. Oh, yes, yeah, ego. With ego only, we are functional in this whole world. Without ego, we will not be functional, number one. With ego, will function. That second bird, who is the doer, is functioning because of ego only. The four parts of Antakaran will always stay. We just have to use this whole thing to understand that this is not me, that is me. I'm the observer. Initially, that I'm the observer, but later on we have to say that's me. We all will understand it through that mind only, mind and ego part only.
See, see, see,
Getting rid of the ego is the way to come to the state. Where or where?
see, I don't know if how it's easy to handle ego, but what I feel is we always have to, as human beings, we always like to experience something.
We have to
We
experience
have
in
to
this world.
experience. So if we are aware of it, let me experience, see what's happened. This time I will do this thing and let me see what the results are. Just experience, nothing more. And you see your experience, you have learned it right or wrong, doesn't matter. And then try the other way around too. So what I feel is, how about experiencing something, then you know exactly what happens. How do I feel? What happens to your own self? Forget the world, how you, and then you can bring a change in your own self. So experiencing something might help,
So-
I feel.
Yeah, absolutely. Just one thing, Umaji is responding to the ego thing, I think, and she's saying we can develop more sattvic qualities, reduce rajas and tamasic qualities that will calm the mind. So there is no way to get rid of the ego. Ego, ahankara is within, I think, built in us, and Uma always says that also. But I think to reduce those, we can increase our sattvic qualities. That's the only way to replace our egoistic self.
So what Rajiv ji is saying is about the gross ego. He's not talking about that sukshma ego part, which is the
Self.
reason of this birth,
Mhm.
which is the reason of this birth, reason of us, the living beings. He's talking about gross egos, keeping ego. I am rich, I am educated, I am this, I am that. He's talking about that ego. So that has to go away. But other ego has to stay for us to live.
Right.
So,
No, I mean, as long as there is
as long as we are
identification-
living, as long as we
as
are
long
living,
as I say I am Bhavani, I have that ego. How can I not have that?
we still have to say that I am Manoj,
Yeah.
but from inside we have to understand only. We don't have to keep saying that I am Bhagwan, I am Paramanand. I don't have to keep saying that. It's the anubhuti, it's the experience. We don't have to say, we don't have to act like a moron that no, I'm not Manoj. I am Manoj still.
And that includes Vairagya, like you were saying, India Fest. You go there, but you don't carry your ego and your, you go like a mela, it's Maya, it's a big Shakti. It's actually worshipped. Lakshmi is worshipped. I mean, it's all in your attitude. Like there's a famous King Janaka, supposedly very rich.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
he was totally with Vairagya. His whole palace was burning. He just kept praying or doing whatever he was doing.
Yeah, yeah. So ego is very subtle, very hard to get rid of. It is the closest to awareness, Umaji is saying.
What is the, I'm getting confused. So ego always stays back?
Ego
Is that
always
why-
will be there.
But why are we talking about renunciation of ego, right?
We are not talking renunciation
No,
of ego.
it is
that-
there, right? It is there itself.
Correct. But that is not the ego that we can get. So those are things that we can get rid of. Oh, I am rich. I can get rid of that feeling. I am the most spiritual person in this room. I can get rid of that feeling. But I can't get rid of so when I think of myself, I still think of myself as Bhavani. You have to. So that's what I'm saying. That is the ego. That is the ego that is very subtle ego that always stays in. I can't explain it better, I think. But yes, it will be there.
See,
has to be
the way I have understood is that
It has to
ego has, you can say I, right? That I, we distinguish between the lowercase I and the uppercase I. The uppercase I is what that sukshma ego, that ahankara, sukshma. That means it will always be there. As long as if you want, if that is not there, then there is nothing there. Meaning we won't be. So as long as we are there, any life form, that big I is there. That is the prime resident. The lowercase I, which we call,
Stula.
is the all these attributes that we have: the rich, poor, man, woman, all those things are all connected to the outside world, and that is the lowercase I. And that lowercase I, you can either get rid of it, or at least you can subdue, and you can make that irrelevant, as long as you're aware that you are bigger case I.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So that awareness will only let us get rid of this big,
So that bigger I, which you're talking about, that is the reason of Punarjanam.
Yeah.
Once that is gone, there would be no
There
rebirth.
won't be any life.
There will be no rebirth. That's what.
Yeah, yeah.
In the smaller eyes, the rich, this spiritual, educated, all these are, once you get rid of that, that other I, which still stays, is the Sukshma Ahankar you're talking about, which is the reason of birth and life. If that is not there, there's no birth.
See, when we are talking about this, the thought went, I don't know if you got a chance, there's a talk by Arvind Balasubramanya, who came here to the retreat. He had gone to the Nairobi conference, Kenya.
Yeah.
And he has given a speech there. If you get a chance, please listen to it. He talks about 3 zeros. That is basically same topic,
Yeah.
renunciation. He talks about 3 zeros that we have to give up. So, and he gives examples of real life people, recent people who have done that. One is Victor Kanu, the other is Africa and Gadia and Patel.
Mhm.
And the third is Kaikeyi. He cites the Kaikeyi. Rama apparently goes to Kaikeyi and tells that he has taken birth for a more important purpose than just be the king of the Ayodhya. So he tells because Kaikeyi was extremely fond of Rama.
Yeah.
So he goes and tells her, and then he is the one who has requested her to use the boons. But then he tells her that by doing that, you have to realize that all your name is gone.
Yes.
Everybody will refer to you as the evil woman, or you should be prepared for it. Nobody is going to name their girl child Kaikeyi. So all those things you should be prepared, and she's willing. So she's willing to give up that zero. So the 3 zeros that he talks about is wealth, a name and fame, and then the relationship. So these, if you get a chance, please listen to it. It's amazing. It's just half an hour. It's really nice.
Yeah.
So I don't know, I'm trying to express, it's a long thoughts I'm going through.
Please go ahead.
So whether it's scientifically or philosophically, you think the entire existence came from the nothingness, which is again we call consciousness.
Correct.
Right? So when consciousness is existing, it's producing in a inert form to express itself. It is associated with some forms, like every inert or the real things has this energy. So when the consciousness, what we call the Chaitanya, tries to express itself, it is expressing itself through an inert object. It needs some support to express itself. That's where, depending on what object it is associated with, it has some level of expressing itself. If it is a stone, it doesn't really talk, but it might have some energy inside. So as it is expressing itself through so many forms, even tree has energy, but it is better than a rock.
Yeah.
It is having some life form. Beyond that, it is associated with so many forms. As a human being is highest level of all this consciousness, we are expressing. That's where the actual consciousness, when it is expressing itself, it is stuck with the body.
Right.
And that's where it says, I am associated with the body, so I am existing here. So it doesn't know it's actually the root cause is coming from there. The moment the question from Vijayji, what is this I?
Yeah.
The I, because it is not knowing that it is coming from somewhere else, but it is thinking I'm coming from here.
Right.
So the moment you are associated with that consciousness, it is gross. So you have to go back and think that this is not me. This is the something else.
Correct. And the only reason why a man can think is because he has the sixth sense. That awareness of that consciousness is only in the man. There is no other animal or no other living.
So exactly, that's where the highest form, as it progresses, even in the human beings, there are people who are more elevated. That's where when it is coming to this stage, it is also carrying its roots. That's why it is giving an option for human beings like, hey, you are not just this body, you also have the other one.
And that
But
is
not-
Jada also.
Exactly.
That is
So
Jada.
because the
Yeah,
body
yeah.
itself is Jada, but it is
Correct.
expressing through Jada.
Yeah.
And it is the highest form that it can express at this moment. It also knows that what is the background, but most of the times it forgets that it is not that other one that it is coming from.
Right, right. So there is another thing that I think we can always relate to is the Prakriti piece that that when we talk about Maya, I would like to actually focus on that piece as well, because Jada is also Prakriti. There is Purusha and Prakriti, and we need to kind of all of these look as terms, because when we started our discussion in Gita Vahini, we talked about it just as terms. Those terms were put together by Ashok Uncle when we had him, explain, and he was very graphical in the way he explained the entire process to us. So I think this is definitely something that we should definitely focus on: consciousness being expressed in Jada and that being reflected in the mind and all of that. We need to really work on that, because like Swami is saying, that is the only way to remove ignorance. And once you have that knowledge, that jnana, then your ignorance is automatically gone. You won't have that question. And that's how I feel like my time of being so upset about any event has come down, because I have reached to some level of being able to remove that ignorance. Or at least I know whose door to knock on.
See, somebody said Brahman is Jada. Brahman is Jada because it can do nothing, zero, right? But we need Maya, which projects everything on Brahman. It's Brahman's power, Maya. But without all that, Brahman is useless, Jada, nothing he can do. But when Maya projects everything on it, which we see, then that Brahman can experience itself in every form.
So you're saying the whole
Maya is the power behind Brahman itself. Without that, Brahman is nothing.
The example comes, the smoke comes from fire, and then it hides the fire itself. Fire itself. The smoke comes from fire, and then it hides fire itself. Maya came from Brahman, and it's hiding Brahman. That's the example.
That's right. It hides. Maya projects everything.
Yeah.
I mean, my truth is Brahman. This
Exactly.
truth is Brahman. I know everybody knows it, right?
Yes.
So Maya, but this body and mind is given, right?
It's
A name
the act
form
of
is
Maya.
given. Then the Maya, it's just hidden everything, and I don't know I'm Brahman. I'm just
Exactly.
this body.
So that
That's
is-
all it is. That's the job of Maya. It's doing, and it will keep doing it if we can understand it only, I think.
I think that is why Swami says, I came from myself to experience myself. So that is
Swami says
that is the
that,
thing.
yeah.
That experiencing part can happen only in the Maya state. Only when Maya is there, that experience comes. Otherwise, that I is just there. So I came from myself to experience myself.
Electricity will not show itself without the fan being there. So electricity is that example. It's just a example. So the current, how will the current show? The fan moving, that we need the jada to express my power or whatever I am, the television, the light in different forms. The same thing Brahman is expressing in form of different forms.
So what is the whole purpose of that?
Correct.
So the
How does
whole
it relate?
purpose is when we are down, see, that is the whole thing, right? So we want another. So when we are down, we have to realize that it is all Maya at that stage, or anything that is outside, whatever we see, everything is Maya, because the real I is beyond any attribute, beyond any shape or form. It's beyond attributes. So if you are going to realize that, we got to keep thinking. So when we are down, again, our thought, or we should tell ourselves that we are Nirguna Brahman. That is, we are attributeless. That is who we are. So
Right.
all these things are passing clouds.
Right. So it's like the same way, like Umaji, that her favorite example, poison in the cobra does not impact the cobra. So just like that way, Maya, Brahman never gets affected by Maya because it's just projection of itself on. Yeah. So that is one, and I think moving along, we can end the session today because I don't have anything else here, but we do need to get into the discussion of Maya. And I think the next couple of sessions, we will talk about Maya. If anyone wants the link to today's meditation, I will put it in our group chat. And definitely, I think that is a great way to just listen to it. Even if you don't actually meditate also, you can just listen to it once, because when you are under any process, this will always help. So,
Yeah, but the meditation itself is so simple that you don't need to even watch or listen, because it's just
I agree.
watching the thoughts. So you can continuously watch the thoughts wherever you are, whatever you may be doing.
Yeah.
So once I think this is my own
Please.
scientific assessment. I think the reason why the moment you watch the thoughts, that thought goes away, is because I think at any given point we can have only one thought. So that is the
Yeah.
thing. So that's the game. So if you are getting a thought, and the moment you are aware of it, that thought has to be replaced by this awareness, or the thought that you are
Right.
you are thinking.
Mhm.
So I think that is what it is. So if you are feeling down,
Mhm.
if that thought comes, they either a fear. I mean,
Yep.
all these are nothing but the thoughts, right?
Yeah.
So the moment that comes, if you're going to be aware of that, then I think you're replacing it. Or otherwise, you have to think about something that happened in the past that you really liked,
Yeah.
or something that is or think of something that is bound to come, something happy that's going to happen.
Right.
So it's, you change that mind. The moment you replace this with that, then this feeling goes away.
Right, absolutely. But in this case, you don't have, so a lot of even looking at Jyoti meditation or whatever, my observation was they always ask you to come back to the breath, think of the breath. But I can't think of the breath because my mind is already somewhere else. It is much easier to just say, oh, I'm observing this thought. If I say I'm observing the thought, you're right. That thought is gone. Again, I'm thinking, why did I get this thought? Yeah, exactly. So all of that, it's a cyclical. So I think it's
See, the other thing I liked about this meditation is he says that either thoughtless. See, whenever I close this one, I don't have much thoughts. So what happens is, watch your thoughts, and then, okay, where do I search for the thoughts? So, okay, so now he gives that option here. So this is the first time I've heard that or you'll reach the thoughtless state.
Right.
So I think Rishi also was saying that I don't have a thought. I was looking for if I'm getting a thought.
Yeah.
So that then there is no thought. So yeah, it helps. Yeah.
Yeah. So with that, we can, so the life application, and I think it didn't save on this one, was for us to kind of practice this week, if we can bring awareness to the thought. And this is the past one. I don't know, I changed it. It didn't change back. So the idea is to kind of review or let the thought pass. but can you remind yourself that you are the witness? That is what we should be focusing on this week, and it will be great if anyone can share their experience next week. So with that, we can end the session with Om and three Shantis. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you all for your participation, and thank you for your online chat as well. Appreciate it. Thank you. Sai Ram.
Sai Ram. If you want, I can put that one, we can watch while we are having our prasad.